So hello traders and potential future traders, Patrick Maldonado here, cryptocurrency trader and market analyst at Alphachain Capital and founder of TCE Trading. Today we have another special episode as I will be joined by Sammy Sarasti, who is a FOREX trader at Alphachain Capital and a trader who really focuses on trading psychology, which is essential if you want to be a successful trader. During this episode, we will be talking about our stories at Alphachain Capital and about the importance of trading psychology. So, Sammy, welcome. I think we have we wanted to do this episode for so long. We have been talking about trading psychology. We have shared our stories, and I think that it's important to share the knowledge, our vision of trading, what our stories are in terms of Alphachain. What people can get if they work hard enough, if they are disciplined, if they focus on trading psychology and so on. So, just to introduce us, like a brief summary, Sammy and I know each other from Alphachain Capital. Basically, there are a proprietary firm that hires traders in order to, to increase their capital and also helps us out. So we know from that network, which I think is one of the best parts about being in a traders network, that we get to know each other. Because sometimes it's lonely, isn't it? Like being a trader, it can get very lonely in terms of you want to learn something, but then you don't know anyone else who is doing it. Maybe you have some questions, maybe you have some problems, maybe you have some hiccups on your trading, so you don't know how to go on about that. In any case, I've been less time than you, so I would like to focus on your experience because you have been more in there. You are already a funded trader, so maybe you can give us more details on that, just for everyone to know what it feels like or how does, a real trader really looks like, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions of people saying, hey, I'm a real trader, but you have only $100 in your account. So I think that's different. In any case, Sammy, tell us more about yourself. What's your background in terms of where do you live and things that you want to share with us?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for introducing me, Patrick, and thank you for taking me on your podcast. And my background is I studied economics, and then I worked in this bank called Danske Bank for 3 years. And then I started noticing kind of like patterns where I didn't really feel good with going to work every day for 8 hours and having to wear a tie and everything like this. And then the 2008-2009 crash got me really thinking about like the system is quite not so well balanced and everything. And when I was working in the bank, there was many people who were contributing a lot to the bank, but they got laid off because there was no money to take care of them, and they didn't have a position anymore. And I started thinking like, if like this could happen to me as well, I might just lose my job like this, so I better start doing something. And then also freedom was one of the biggest things that I really wanted to do and express myself in order to, I really like the fact of so you can trade wherever you want to trade from. And but what comes to the funded trader versus trading alone, it is basically like completely two different worlds. I traded alone for about 4.5 years, and my profit was like this constantly. And basically the only thing that I learned was through books, through YouTube and everything like this. But when you join like a company called Alphachain or whatever company you do, you have professionals there that have your back, and you can ask them questions. And like this podcast, we can talk about so many things together, and we can confirm that, hey, maybe this is true, maybe this is not true. and this brings so much confidence in the trading. And at least for me, it was so that I was always trading with my own money, and it was kind of it was okay. It was okay to trade, but when somebody else gives you money, you're kind of like, okay, I am in charge of this money,
Yeah, it's
and
different, isn't it?
yeah, it's a big difference. You really need to evaluate all of your daily routines and everything like this. Like, are you ready to handle this sort of money? And are you able to bring in profits for this person or this firm? And so I found that because many times people might say that, oh, it's scary when somebody gives you money because it's not your money. But for me, it was the opposite. It was kind of like a weight off my shoulders that, I was like, okay, I am ready to do this. Plus, I have an extremely good group behind me. I can share thoughts, I can learn new things, I can connect with people. And I feel like that's the whole thing. Trading is fun, but it's super boring if there's nobody else to share it with or teach it with or talk about it with.
Definitely, I agree, and I think you talked about very important points right now. The first one, even on a past episode, we talked about how to you can leave your 9 to 5, and one of the topics that we cover is that in fact you can get fired. There's things happening in the world, and a company that is going through a crisis is not gonna question itself. It's gonna be like, hey, I need the money, and they might fire you. So it's even having a 9 to 5 job can be a risk, right? If you only
Yeah,
rely on it. I think that's the point, and that's also something that I having wanted to portray, at least in TC trading, is that a lot of people think that, okay, you do trading and that's it, you're gonna focus on that, but you can also have it as a secondary income. You can also have it like a small portfolio just to increase it, right? Mainly to diversify. Now you went into this professional path, the same as me, which we have to focus a little bit more, but that's not the only way that you can take advantage of trading. And the other thing that I really like that you discuss as well, and it's part of a next question, is you talked about, you said, managing money. uh, so there's in reality two parts of trading. You can trade as a retail trader with your own money, with small capital, that you did in the beginning. I also did when I was starting. And also there is professional trading, when it's basically you're working for a prop trading company and they give you capital, you manage it. Of course the gameplay is completely different, right? Because when you're
yeah,
going professional, you have a contract, you're managing, as you said, someone else's money, and most of the times it's going to be way more than you're going to be handling on your own. So as you said, trading psychology, discipline, habits are going to be very, very important. Now
yeah.
for the second question that I wanted to ask you, you probably already answered this. How did you start trading? So you told us that you started trading with YouTube videos, you started trading with books. I think it's pretty much it's very similar to the way that I started trading. Basically, I also talked about this difference between going into like free content and learning, and also paid. Do you think that you took a lot of time in terms of your education? Because something that I figured out is that when you don't have anyone to teach you, it is possible that you get some of the misconceptions, or you get some mistakes and develop some of the bad habits if there's no one to correct you. So how did you kind of manage to go around this in terms of your learning education?
It was a really big process. It was like a huge process, basically. And I found out that, trading, as funny as it sounds, trading is quite simple, but managing yourself in your daily life, like stress, fear, anxiety, just daily things that come to your way, the better you can handle these things, the better you are as a trader. So basically, it's kind of like, if you want to be a good trader, you have to improve yourself constantly, and you really have to pay attention. And in order to pay attention, you can't have, you can't have stress. And one big thing is, if you're in a relationship, something like a fight with your girlfriend or boyfriend or something like this will totally take you out. And then jealousy and everything like this, I'm gonna go so far as to say it doesn't have room if you want to be a good trader, unless you can super handle it, unless you're some kind of a guru.
You before you continue, I totally agree, because that happened to me quite recently. All this emotional imbalance, it overthrows you. So if you want to go into trading, then you are kind of thinking with a wrong mentality. You're kind of being at a disadvantage, right? Because if you're not good with your emotions, then probably you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. So I completely agree with that regard.
Exactly. Yes. And one thing that has helped me a lot is meditation, through a mentor, and who basically taught me that you can have an emotion, and my fist is kind of like the emotion, and the emotion is just energy basically, and you can peel off the negative or whatever, and you can use that as an advantage. You can like, I always like to think that if life gives you problems or something like this, then that means that you are capable of dealing with those problems. You are strong. And um, I, I don't know where it comes from, but I always try to focus on the positive side more. Then I'm like, okay, there's a problem or something has happened. It can be sad, it can be bad or something like this, but there's always something that you can find improvements, or you can go through it or something like this. And then it's basically like transmutation of that energy into something that you can use, and I found that really helpful, because like say, like, you have a strong emotion, why can't you use that as a positive thing? You can easily just, it takes practice, but you can use it as a positive thing, and that has helped me a lot to go forward in trading, get that motivation. And like, if you can feel negative emotion really strongly, you can feel the same emotion but positively really strongly.
That's a real good point. I just before I didn't want to interrupt you, but what you said in terms of emotions, it's super true, right? Something that I tell all my students is that no one in the world has lost money due to have an emotion, right? I mean, why do they lose money? Because how they react to that emotion, and that has even happened to me.
Exactly.
I can have an emotion, but that emotion does not have any impact on my portfolio, unless because of that emotion I decide to click opening a short to open a long in the wrong place or move a stop loss. So this is something that is very important. I mean, even me as a trader right now is something that I'm continuously working on. And also what I like that you said is that it's really about meditation, or that plays a big part, right? Not controlling your emotions, but managing them, right? The way you feel them, the way you are aware about them, the way that you kind of like are one with your feelings. So and we discussed this that potentially, we wanted to make more content on this, covering meditation, which even on my perspective is something that I would like to do more often. Sometimes I think that people tend to think that it's not as important, or they don't do it as often as they should. But for trading, I think it's something that even myself, I want to keep working on, or I want to improve, do more, because it only helps you. So
exactly.
Are there any more insights on meditation that you want to talk about right now?
Well, one thing that I've been doing, which is super helpful, is that as soon as I wake up, I don't look at my phone for. I try to avoid my phone for 45 minutes to an hour, And then I have this book, and I sit in my balcony, just in peace, have my coffee, and there's nothing around that is disturbing me. And then I just write 5 to 15 things that I am grateful for, like this. And then I go over the plan that I had the previous day, and I calmly, okay, I achieved this, and then I write more. What do I want to achieve today, and everything like this. And then like just calming down and doing like really good thing is breath work to do. Like probably most people are familiar with Wim Hof and his methods of breathing. And when you breathe in, and when you oxygenate, I don't know how to say it, oxygenate your body fully, your body just starts working totally differently. And like one really good thing is to observe your breathing. And are you breathing through your mouth or your nose? Because if you're breathing through your nose, it goes deeper. But if you breathe through your mouth, it goes on the upper parts of the lungs, which means that you're in this flight or fight moment. Response, yeah, exactly. So I feel like the first hour of the day should be like super quiet, super, do those things that you want to do, but don't look at screens. Don't look at Instagram. Don't look at what other people are doing, and especially don't read the news, because when you read the news, 90% of it is negative, and then this will start a loop in your head. You will be like, oh my god, coronavirus, 3,000 again. I can't do this, I can't do that. Nobody cares. It's your life. You need to be in the zone, kind of, and also drinking a lot of water with some salts during the morning to hydrate your body after the sleep, and then stretching. These are super simple things to get into the flow and actually like feel good in your body.
Great.
So when you feel good in your body and your mind is calm, and I always have this saying that there are worlds within worlds. Like, let's say that you're angry, you only see things that make you more angry. But if you're happy, you only see things that make you happy. So if you are in a calm state, it's hard to see negative things in your life, and then you have a clear vision, and then you can see the trades in front of you, and you don't have that fear of pulling the trigger, even if it would be a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, you're covering very good points right there. Even I make that mistake sometimes, when I wake up and for some reason I look at my phone and then there's a notification of an alarm on TradingView or whatever. It does happen, and I think you kind of nail it in that respect, because it's good to respect your time in and when you are just waking up. And something some of the listeners might not know is that our brain does not necessarily think the way we think it does. The brain responds like, as you said, in a fight or flight response, which is kind of like the reptilian brain, right? Something that you don't control. That's something that happens. And just the fact of you being in trading and being exposed to risk trigger that same feeling that if you were, I don't know, a long time ago, if you were attacked by some sort of animal, it might not be the same scenario, but evolutionary, our brain is kind of like wired to trigger these emotions, to trigger these reactions, so that you don't think about them. You just react. And I think that's, you nail it in terms of at least the early morning. If you're just waking up and you look at that the trading charts, you look at the news, you get triggered without any conscious potential, right? You get the news, and then you suddenly are kind of like getting more adrenaline, or getting what's happening, and you get into a negative state without even having the opportunity to be kind of controlled or conscious, because you're just waking up, your brain is not fully functioning by then. So I mean, to be honest, even me as a personal as a person, and for my trading, I think the things that you are saying are going to help a lot, because I've been trying to avoid looking at the charts. And I think the daily, something that I need to work on is the daily routines as well. I think that, at least for me, what you do right after you wake up, it's easier to control than what you do during the day, right? Because during the day,
I agree.
a lot can happen. But if you nail what you do on the mornings, then you can have a more kind of like let's say perform oriented towards your goals, right? Something that I do, for instance, in the morning is that I started doing recently. You mentioned Instagram, what for me, Instagram is more as a tool for marketing and for what I'm doing with TCE trading. So I find it very difficult before to do the, kind of like engagement and so on during the day, right? So what I did is, okay, when I wake up in the morning, then first I kind of like get in, as you said, a little bit into the zone, just rest, just chill, and then the next thing that I do is kind of do that, because then I can get rid of it, and it has become a habit. So I think the potential to do things as soon as you wake up is there. But as you mentioned, what you need to do is really be kind of like more calm, in a better state. So I might include that. Even I was thinking doing some meditation. I wake up, meditate, get my mind in peace, and then do these other things. So I think it's great, the points that you're mentioning. Now, just to finish kind of like this interview, there's two more questions that I wanted to ask you. I think one you more or less have already asked, but is, what is your opinion of the normal 9 to 5 job? We have personally talked about this, but I just want some brief thoughts of you regarding this.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5 job if you enjoy it, And I've had plenty of 9 to 5 jobs that I really enjoyed. My first job was when I was 10 years old, and I was cleaning the stables where the horses lived. So I was basically like knee deep in horse shit every day. And that was fun, I didn't make that much money and everything like this, but one thing that is not so appealing in this 9 to 5 job is like let's say that you have an 8-hour workday and you have finished everything in 4 hours. And then you have to sit there for another 4 hours, and you're like, you're basically wasting your employer's money. You're wasting your time. You're letting your mind drift. And it's like if you work, let's say that you work in a bank, or you are basically whatever you're doing, and you need to pay attention. It's obvious you can't just read a book there or improve yourself or anything like this. Maybe in some kind of a job or something like this, but I think that conducting yourself in a way that you see is best for yourself is the most important thing. Like I like to wake up early, but if there's like today, I might work so that I wake up in the morning, and then I'm like, I work 4 hours, then I have a break, then I work 2 hours more, and then it can be so that I finish my work at 2 in the morning. So something like this, I have so many pairs to look at, and overall it's like 12-hour or 10-hour workday, and it doesn't bother me because I can do it wherever I want. Like it's like okay, I just ate a massive lunch. I can't do work right now. This is not good. And I feel like the freedom of, so you can judge whenever you want to work, and you know, it develops so much character and trust in yourself to know that, okay, I can work here, I can work there, and these are the times that I work the best, and I feel like you get the best result from this one. But I also understand that if you don't have a plan, or if you don't have something, you know, like let's say that you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job and you're like, okay, I want to learn trading. That's a hard step to take, you know. It's scary. It's scary to go
Yeah,
from
definitely.
a monthly paycheck to basically nothing, living off your savings or just a minimal amount of money or something like this. But it's like, once again, it's like, if you want it, you should do it. But you know, you have to have that inner kind of
Drive, right?
inner drive. Yeah, like, and if I may share one quick story, was that I was working in the bank at that point, and I was like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, working every day. I came home and I was like a zombie. I was like this. I could not move. And
Yeah.
after that, I also had a sales job. The same thing happened, because if you're selling something, you have to be bum 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 bum
Yeah,
bum
yeah,
like
yeah. You
this.
meet in that mental state, right?
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, I was studying in university, and then and then my professors were like teaching macroeconomics, and they were like, you know, this is the macroeconomic theory, but in theory this doesn't work anymore. But I still have to teach you this. And then I was like, well, that's weird. And then I had a vacation, and my father was kind of like, he was like, hey, do you want to see stocks? Do you know anything about stocks? And I was like, no, not really. And I think I was 20 or 21 back then. And then at the end of the day, he was like, hey, those stocks that we pay, those stocks that we picked, like 10 in the morning, and when the stock market closed at 4:30 or whatever it closed, 5 here or something like this, we made $750. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we made that much money in one day that I make in a week, sitting in a place. I mean, my coworkers were the best, but still, you know, like,
Yeah,
you have to go there every day. You have to go there every day, and it's like, I mean, to me, it was kind of like, it was an obvious choice, and I was kind of like, I felt kind of like cheated by the system. I felt like a slave running in a wheel, basically, and that thought propels me every day. It propels me forward, and I mean, like, maybe I just chose the wrong path of going into the bank or whatever. But I do love manual labor as well. But I do love the freedom as well more.
yeah.
So it's all about the balance, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you are just hitting a lot of good points in your commentary. I mean, the first thing is that, I think we can both agree is do whatever makes you happy.
Exactly.
And this is something that I've discussed with other people, with another guest. Is, if you are happy with your 9 to 5 job, then do it.
Yeah.
The goal is doing what makes you happy. For instance, you already said
Exactly.
your side of the story. In my specific scenario, I have already worked 9 to 5 jobs, and I haven't been really that happy. Having someone to tell you what you need to do at what time. And as you said, it becomes a problem, because I mean, no one can really perform for 8 hours straight, right? The mind is not made for
Exactly.
that. It's just not
Exactly.
made for that. You can't focus on a single thing for 8 hours straight. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of problems in terms of how as you said, the system works overall, because you can't perform at your best at all times, and then you can't have the flexibility to maybe, okay, maybe you want to study and improve yourself, right? So improving yourself even becomes something that you need to do at your own time instead of being something work related. And I think that's something that, at least for me, changes a lot, and probably for you right now changes a lot, is that all of these things that help you are part of your work overall, right? For me, if I do,
Exactly.
you know,
Yes.
if I read on, I don't know, on trading psychology, if I read books, if I exercise, if I do whatever I do, I take it as part of my job, because that helps my mind and my mindset on trading, right? So I think
You're absolutely right.
exactly. So
Yeah.
and you're and again, just covering what you said, you know, trading has a lot of advantages. You know, you mentioned mobility, time flexibility. You're basically your own boss in terms of, you know, you might work more, because I agree, you know, some, even yesterday I slept like almost at 2 a.m. because I was doing some back testing and some statistical evaluations on some strategies I got. You know, maybe I work even more, and I didn't plan to work on a Sunday all the way through 2 a.m. But, you know, because it's
Yeah.
something that I like, because it's something that I took my time, you know, I rested during the day, then I was like, you know, I feel I'm into it right now, you know. It doesn't matter if you work 10, 12 hours, because you're taking your time, so you perform even better than you would in 8 hours straight of trying to do that. So I think, I mean, you know, all of this is awesome. I We still have some topics to discuss, so maybe we want to be a little bit more brief in some.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, so I hope that you will join again sometime soon.
Definitely.
You know, there's a lot that we can discuss on the podcast. Now, we both work at Alphachain Capital, and
Yeah.
as I've said before, you know, I've been recently for some months, but you have been there for more. So I kind of want you know, if you can tell us more about your experience, how it was when you started, what were you looking for? I mean, if you can go into more details, you know, in terms of the capital you're managing. If not, that's okay. Just tell us more about that if you can.
Yeah. Sure. I was well. It basically happened really, really well because I was actually a bartender uh, for the past year, and then the COVID-19 came.
Hmm.
So all bars closed. And at the same week, I got an offer, or I applied to Alphachain. And I think the biggest reason why I applied to Alphachain was that I don't have to trade alone, because that was getting. I was like, okay, either I'm gonna stop trading, or I'm gonna have to get a mentor.
Hmm.
And I tried to get a mentor in Finland for, I don't know, 6 months, and everybody said that, oh, you can't make money trading forex
Yeah.
or whatever, and all of this kind of things. And then I was like, well, if you say that, check back in 5 years, I'll show you. And then I joined Alphachain, and it has been so wonderful to have this community, like
Yeah.
Desmond has that morning brief. It's super good. You wake up, you're on top of things, you know what's happening. They're all professionals, they're all super nice people, they offer their help. And like, I met you through this one. This is awesome to talk about these kind of things. And I think I've said it before, it's kind of like, trading is 50% or maybe 40%, but then when you can teach or when you can talk about trading, that's the 60%. That's like
Yeah.
100%. Then the combination, and that's the part that I really like. And also the fact of like that, when you get funded account, if you can stick by your rules and your personal how to say this, personal, like going forward in your personal life,
Yeah.
the you don't have any limits. You don't have any limits in how much money you can make or what you can do. Basically, you can do so many things. I mean, I don't even know how to. I don't even know how many things there are. So it's kind of like limitless. You can you can do podcast, you can do blog, you can do courses, you can help people. And I mean, like, think about how nice it would be to, like, if somebody's struggling, and then you're like, hey, let me teach you to trade, and then they trade, and then they become good, and then they're like, now I can travel and everything like this. That's I
Yeah,
to me, that's kind of the thing in
yeah.
trading, like,
I mean, you nail it with all these things, because it's true. Or what you're saying is part of diversification as well. Me, as a trader as well, you want to share that. And this is why I said before, it's not only that if you're doing trading, that's only the only thing that you're going to focus on, right? You can't have it as a part-time job, like a secondary income. You can still do it, grow your account on the side. As you said, you can, even if you're traveling, you can still earn money.
yeah,
I mentioned an experience that I had. I went around Europe, and then I was trading while I was traveling, so I was indeed making money while traveling. And sometimes, because I'm a swing trader, I can let trades go, and then just set stop loss, take profits, set the positions automatically, so that I can make money if the market allows me to. I mean, it's great. It has a lot of advantages that eh, it takes a lot to start. It takes a lot of
yeah,
commitment. It takes a lot in terms of the emotional toll of
yep,
losing money. There's things that you need to forget and relearn completely and shift your mind, because that's something I also work on. The fact of you losing, you don't need to see losers as something negative, but maybe as business costs, right? That you losing
exactly,
money is the
yeah,
opportunity of you being in the market, potentially getting a profit, or maybe getting the cost of entry, which would be your stop loss. And the other thing that you mentioned, that you were looking for mentorship, I mean, that's huge, right? uh, I didn't have any mentors when I started trading, and I
yeah,
found it very difficult, because there's so many things that you can learn, and you don't know what's good and what's bad. You don't have anyone to tell you about it. Now it's great, because I'm in this network. You are also in the network as well, so
yeah,
we can give each other feedback. So even though we're steps ahead in terms of trading knowledge, we are still learning with others' experience. So what I found, even with my students, is that the feedback is the best learning experience. You
exactly,
talking with someone else, them telling their experience, you learning, asking questions. I mean, because you might have real questions that if you go, I don't know, maybe to a YouTube channel, you can write a comment, but maybe they will respond you, maybe they won't. So having a mentor really can help you. That's also why, at least in TC trading, what I've been doing is not focusing so much on just giving a course videos and that's it, but on the one-to-one interaction, because that's where you can really learn not only about the person, their habits, how they feel, how they think. I mean, even having this conversation with you, it's huge, and you wouldn't have that only if you, I mean, maybe if you develop a course specifically on that, you will have the insights. But talking to that person and asking real questions really changes everything. At least that's in my opinion. I mean, uh,
I agree,
all of these
yes,
topics are very good. There, I still want to put some more conversation topics. Now that we're talking about trading psychology,
sure,
uh,
yes, sure,
and probably we will have to do another episode, because there are
yeah,
a lot of insights that we need to discuss, and I'm very glad to have you on board.
thank,
One of the things that I wanted to discuss, maybe I'll just grab three of the topics that we have here and leave the other ones for another time, so that we have more content. Overconfidence. This is
yeah,
something that we talked
big one,
before, even when we were talking way back when we met. Sometimes when you are winning on trading, you can get this overconfidence bias, meaning that you think that, oh, you've been doing so good that you will never lose, you can make any trade. And then what this makes, or what happens when you think like this, is that you start not paying the same amount of attention into the details
exactly,
you were before, right? So
exactly,
it's kind of ironic, because there's a lot of things that say, if a trader performs really, really, really good, then you should kind of fire him, right? Because he performed so good that he's gonna have maybe that overconfidence. I mean, it is kind of like a joke, in the financial sector. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
perform really, really good, maybe you get overconfidence, and that's with drawdowns come. How do you, in your personal trading and trading overall, what do you think about overconfidence? How you try to kind of get on top of it?
In my view, overconfidence is super bad in a way of everything. Like um, no matter how much you learn or anything like this, you can always learn more. And I call it I call overconfidence. I call it cowboy trading, and it's like I've tried to develop this kind of mentality that I am never satisfied. I am um, like like this like this morning. This morning I had a goal for this week. I'm gonna make X amount of money, and I made that money in 3 hours this morning. And I was like, I was looking around, and I was like, okay, I was like, yeah, I'm happy, but like I was not satisfied. I was not like, yeah,
Yeah.
because that I believe that slowly starts to like
Accumulate.
what you said about paying attention. It's like you start paying less attention. And if you think about the word paying attention, you are paying something. You're giving your mind, and you're paying with your mind to the markets. And the less you pay, the less you receive. And I always try to think of like, okay, today was today, tomorrow is tomorrow. And just I did this plan. Now I'm gonna repeat it tomorrow because it worked. And it's just about like how would I say, just keeping it humble, like
Yeah.
and just being grateful for things. And I also believe in a fact of like not really sharing that much of your trading profits or whatever with other people who don't trade, because then they're like, oh, they might give you something negative or something like this, or then they might say, oh, you're rich now. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not rich. I made one profit in one day. It doesn't make me rich at all. And
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
don't need that mentality in your life at all. So it's just it's an accumulative process. And you know I every time I make an analysis in forex, I always write, remember, this is forex, anything can happen. So it's that keeps me like down to earth
Yeah,
in a
level
way.
headed.
And then sports and everything like this, then I just I do a lot of sports, and do a lot of activities, and I just don't. And then meditation and all of these help me not to react. It's um, like if I compete in tennis or something like this, I might win a game, but who knows if I'm gonna win a game next week or tomorrow or something like this. It doesn't go like that. You're never the king of the world, let's
Yeah.
say like that. You're never you always have to pay attention, no matter how good your trading day yesterday was. And I also believe that like for example, today I will look at the markets, I will look at the trades that I did take today, but I don't think I will take any trades unless there's like an obvious trade, like. But if I do take that, it will be with a lesser lot size and everything like this, because like overconfidence in trading is really really bad. really, really bad. You know, you start to think, oh, I'm the king of the world. If I did this today, I can do this
Yeah.
tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
boom, your account
Yeah,
is
and then
gone.
something happens against you, and that's when you were like humbled by the market, right? It was like you tried too much to keep going without really putting that necessary work or that attention, paying that same attention for each one of the trades. So that ends up affecting you. I think just kind of like to finish these topics, because we definitely need another another episode, and I'm glad
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that. I'm glad for that, because there's a
This
lot
is
of insight
fun.
that people might not know. But I wanted to point at something that you said, in terms of people saying, hey, yeah, you might be you are rich, or saying, oh, how can you make this much money in a short term? Because sometimes that happens. I
Yeah,
made recent trades that maybe it's $500 $600 in what, a couple days, a couple hours.
yeah,
But that
exactly. Yeah,
doesn't mean that you, as you said, that you're rich, because you're gonna have costs, you're gonna lose some trades, and then you
yep,
might make other ones. But or maybe that's the only trade you take for the week. There's a
yeah,
lot more involved, and a lot of misconceptions around not only forex but trading in general. And
yeah,
one thing that you say is, how to transform that negative energy from people and all this into positive energy. And this is probably something that we're going to be talking about more in another episode. But
yeah,
I mean, you said it in your story. People telling that you can't do something, or people telling you something negative, and then grabbing that negative energy and transforming it into positive
yeah,
energy. As you said, I mean, you literally said, look at me in 5 years, right? When you were talking about trading, which is basically that. You're grabbing that negative energy of saying, hey, you can't do it, and then using it to propel yourself and actually do it. So I think that's very, very powerful, in my
it
opinion. I
is.
mean, all of these topics, are very important, and to be honest, I even kind of feel relieved, right now, just talking about this, just having the mentality. uh, Creating this environment is going to be key if you want to be successful, because there's nothing like, okay, and a lot of people and a lot of videos say it, oh, there is this magnificent strategy, you just follow this and you make money. No, that's not how it works. It's part of it, having a successful strategy and an edge is definitely part of trading. But con- being able to manage your emotions, being able to know yourself, to
Yeah,
create these habits, to create this working environment, it's going to be key. And this is something definitely that we are going to be discussing forward. So, I mean, just
yeah,
to end this episode, traders, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the TC Trading Podcast. My aim is always to share my experience with the hope that you will benefit from it, right? That's the key, people benefiting from the content,
exactly.
what we
Yeah,
talk, with the hope that you learn something, and with the hope that we can change this industry for the better. That's something that I'm focusing on. If
yeah,
you know anyone, for the listeners who might be interested in trading, please let them know about this podcast. We will be doing more content. We talked also that we wanted to do more on meditation and so on. So, I would like to change the industry and the marketing. We know how it is overall, but
same,
we need
same.
their help. We need the listeners to be able to share this, share the word. That's really going to help us. So, Sammy, just before we end this, are there any social media that the audience can follow you, or something that they can, learn more about you? We also talked that maybe you could potentially, write blogs on TC
Yeah.
Trading as well. Is there anything that people can know more about you?
I started a blog and I made my first post today, but I haven't published it yet because it's kind of rudimentary. But I haven't posted in a while, but it's called Nordic Forex in Instagram, and then my personal account is SAM1SRT3,
Okay,
which
I'll,
is
I'll, I'll put it in any case in the video for people uh,
yeah,
to see it in there. I mean, that's amazing. This is something that we wanted to do, right? It's kind of like win-win scenario when we work together, uh, to grow together as well. So I
exactly,
will
yeah,
be looking forward, if you write more of your blogs, even share them on my network, so that people can really know about it. mainly because there's a lot of good info, and a lot of people who are new to trading, they won't know these kind of insights because there's not a lot of people writing about the realities of trading. They're too focused trying to sell you a course, trying to sell you this and that, that they don't
Yeah.
focus on what's really important. Well, Sammy, thank you very much for joining me today. And for each
Thank
one
you,
of you who is listening, thank you for supporting my podcast. It's really appreciated. I'm looking forward to bringing more traders, maybe having you as well, Sammy, in another episode, more professionals on the field so that people can listen to their stories and learn more about how they can improve their trading. So
exactly.
thank
Yeah.
you very much, Sammy. It has been
Thank you,
great.
Patrick.
And thank you very much, you guys, for listening. And I will see you on the next episode. Take care.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.